The desert, silent, vast and empty. But sometimes it watches you back. When the sun disappears behind the dunes and the cold wind creeps in, something ancient or unnatural wakes up. Tonight, I'm going to share with you 3 true desert horror stories that prove some places were never meant to be crossed alone. These tales are chilling, unexplained, and absolutely real. Before we descend into these terrifying tales, make sure to like this video if you enjoy true horror stories, and subscribe to True Nightmares for more spine-chilling content every single week. Also, drop a comment below and tell me, would you ever camp alone in the desert? Now, let's begin. A few years ago, 4 college friends took a road trip through the Mojave Desert. Just a fun adventure. No big plans, just driving, camping, and escaping the noise of the city. Everything was going great until the second day. That afternoon, as they were setting up camp near a wide stretch of sand, one of them, Nick, squinted into the distance and said, "Do you guys see that? There's someone out there." The others looked, but there was nothing, just heat waves rising off the ground. They laughed it off, telling Nick it was probably just a mirage, a trick of the heat. That kind of thing happens in the desert all the time, but then it happened again. Later that evening, while the sun was setting, Nick saw the figure again. Still, silent, a little closer than before. This time it looked like a man, tall, thin, standing perfectly still in the distance. But once again, when the others turned to look, the figure was gone. The next night things got worse. They had set up a fire, told stories, and eventually went to sleep. But around 2 a.m. they woke up to silence and noticed that one of them, Mia, was missing from her tent. They called her name, checked the area, but there was no sign of her. That's when they found the footprints, barefoot tracks in the sand, heading away from the camp straight toward a rocky area in the distance. An old, rusted sign stood near the edge. It read, "Keep out, sacred land." Local maps marked the area as a Native American burial site. Nobody was supposed to go near it, but the tracks kept going right into the rocks. And then they stopped. The group stayed up until sunrise, not knowing what to do. That morning, just as the light came over the hills, Mia came back. She walked into the camp barefoot, covered in dust, her clothes torn. But there were no injuries, no signs she had been attacked. The strangest part? She said nothing. Her eyes were wide open, unblinking, empty. They rushed her to the hospital. She was alive, breathing, but completely silent. She didn't speak that day, or the next, or the one after that. And even now, years later, she still hasn't said a word. Her friends say something followed them in that desert. And as for Mia, they brought her back to civilization. But even now, she never blinks, and she hasn't said a single word since. In June of 2021, a solo hiker named Eric James set off into the Sonoran Desert. He wasn't just hiking, he was documenting everything for his vlog. A peaceful escape, he called it. Just him, the camera, and the endless stretch of sand. The first few videos were normal, bright skies, desert landscapes, lizards darting across rocks. He talked about the silence, the stillness, how beautiful it all was. But on day 3, things began to shift. That night, Eric recorded something strange. He was filming from inside his tent, clearly shaken. He said he'd been hearing sounds like voices. Not animals, not the wind, but actual voices, whispering, chanting. He played the audio back on camera. It was faint but real, a rhythmic hum, almost like a group of people, chanting in a language he didn't recognize. The next morning, he recorded another video. He looked tired, pale, but also fascinated. He said the voices hadn't stopped all night, and more than that, he believed they were coming from underground. He claimed there was a patch of sand about a mile from his camp that felt different. The air felt heavier there, the ground softer. In his last video, the camera is sitting on a rock. You see Eric digging with his bare hands, frantic, like he was searching for something. He stops suddenly, looks directly into the lens, his eyes wide, his voice barely above a whisper. "They live under us," he says. "The sand hides them." And then, nothing. That was the final entry. A few days later, when Eric didn't return, a search team was sent out. They found his gear scattered near a sand dune, his backpack, his water bottles, his tent. Everything was there, even his camera. But Eric was gone. No signs of struggle, no tracks leading away. Just silence. To this day, no one knows what happened. Some say he got lost. Others think the heat finally broke him. But those who've seen the footage, the chanting the final message, they believe something else. Some say the desert took him. Others believe he joined something ancient, buried for centuries, waiting to be freed. It was supposed to be a simple road trip, just Lucas and the open road. Lucas had just gone through a tough breakup. He had lost his job. The weight of it all was becoming too much. So he decided to drive. He needed space. The vast emptiness of the Arizona desert was the perfect place to think, or so he thought. For days Lucas drove aimlessly, not really heading anywhere, just the hum of the engine and the endless stretch of road ahead. He didn't mind the solitude, in fact he welcomed it. But then it happened. His car broke down. He pulled over to the side of the road, miles away from the nearest town. The sun was setting fast and the temperature was already beginning to drop. Panic set in as the reality of being stranded in the middle of nowhere hit him. He tried calling for help, but there was no signal, no way to reach anyone. He was completely alone. The darkness crept in. Lucas began walking, hoping to find something, anything that could help. And then in the distance he saw it, an old shack. Hidden between the dunes, a place that seemed completely out of place in the middle of the desert. He walked toward it, relieved to find some sign of life in this desolate place. Inside, the shack was empty, just old rotting furniture and dust-covered floors. But then he saw it, a dusty old phone sitting on a table in the corner. Curiosity got the better of him. He picked it up. The phone rang. He froze. Who would be calling him out here? He answered. At first there was nothing but breathing on the other end. Then a voice, soft and almost too quiet to hear. "I'm waiting for you." Lucas's blood ran cold. He dropped the phone, terrified. But before he could even step away, the phone rang again. This time the voice was clearer, closer. "Don't run. You'll never leave." His heart raced. This wasn't normal. This wasn't real. He couldn't just stay there. He had to leave. He ran out of the shack and back to his car, desperate to get out of there. But when he looked up, something wasn't right. The sky had turned a strange shade of red, like the desert itself was bleeding. The road that had been ahead of him was gone. The landscape stretched on forever, an endless loop of sand and silence. His car was gone. He searched desperately, his mind spiraling. Nothing made sense. No sign of the road, no sign of the car. It was as if the desert had swallowed him whole. And then he heard it. The same voice, clearer this time. You came here to escape, but you'll never leave. Lucas never made it out of that desert. Deserts are mysterious places, vast, silent and ancient. And if these stories have taught us anything, it's that the desert doesn't just test your endurance, it tests your sanity. So the next time you're driving alone under a desert moon, remember, not everything that follows you leaves footprints. If this gave you chills, make sure to like this video and subscribe to True Nightmares, because we've got even darker stories waiting for you. And don't forget to comment which story disturbed you the most. I read every one. Until next time, sleep with the lights on.